iPhones have gotten a lot more advanced, which is great, but odds are you don't know most of what it can do. Before we get into all the deeper iPhone features, I wanted to start with the very basics. Because iPhones have changed a lot over the years, and if this is your first iPhone, or even if you had one for a while, there probably is a lot of things that you don't know about your iPhone. Older iPhones had a home button, lightning connector, mute switch, and a very basic layout. But newer iPhones have things like Face ID, USB-C, MagSafe, the action button, all on the same models. And on some new models, there's the camera control. Things have gotten a lot more confusing with iPhones. Now instead of having a sleep-wake button and a mute switch, you've got all sorts of different features on the outsides of your iPhone that are kind of confusing to use if you don't know what you're doing. So let's take a quick look around the outside of the iPhone, because things at first look pretty simple, but then once you get into them, it's pretty confusing. On the right side of the iPhone, you have your sleep-wake button. And of course, this sleeps and wakes your iPhone, but it does a lot more than that. A lot of people think of it as just a power button, but it does way more than just turn the screen on and off. If you press the side button once, it locks your iPhone. If the screen is off and you press it again, it wakes the screen. But if you double click the side button, that usually will bring up Apple Pay or your wallet. And that's how you quickly pay on your iPhone. Pull up cards, access things in your wallet, depending on what you have set up. Then if you press and hold, Siri will come up, and you can ask Siri all sorts of questions. And if you hold the side button and one of the volume buttons together, that brings up the power off screen and emergency options. Then if you press the top volume button and the side button at the same time, it'll screenshot whatever's on your screen. So the side button is not just one button for one job. It's used to sleep and wake your phone, get to your wallet, your emergency options. It does a lot more than you think. And on the left side of the iPhone, you have your volume buttons, which are pretty straightforward, but there's a few things worth noting. Most of the time, volume buttons control media volume. So if you're watching YouTube, listening to music, or scrolling TikTok, these buttons will control that sound. But depending on the settings you have set up, this can also change your ringer and alert volume. If you go into settings, then sound and haptics, you can choose whether the volume buttons change your ringtone and alert volume. Personally, I have it set so it won't even mess with my ringer volume because I have my phone on silent all the time, always, and I think everyone should, honestly. And when you're in the camera app, your volume buttons can actually act as the shutter button. That means you can press the volume button to take a photo instead of tapping the shutter button on the screen. This can be really useful if you're holding the iPhone sideways, taking a selfie, or trying to keep the phone steady. Then, above your volume buttons, you either have the mute switch or the action button. On older iPhones, it's the classic mute switch. It's pretty simple. You flip it one way, your ringer's on. You flip it the other way, your phone's on silent. I think most people just keep their phones on silent these days. So, Apple finally got rid of the mute switch and added the action button, which is way better. You see, by default, this still acts as the mute switch. You either hold it down to turn on silent mode or hold it down to turn on the ringer. But you can also customize it to do a lot of other things, like seriously, a lot of other things. It can do things like turn on a flashlight, go to the camera, start a voice memo, or whatever shortcut you want, which we'll get into later in the video. That last one makes the action button super powerful. If you connect the action button to shortcuts, it can become almost any button you want. For example, this would be really advanced, but you could make it so it checks which focus mode you're in, then opens up a certain app based on that focus mode. You could set it up so it checks your location, and then if you're at a certain grocery store, it'll automatically open up that grocery list for that store. Some of the newer iPhones have the camera control on the bottom right side of your iPhone, which this has been getting a lot of hate, but it actually can come in handy. This is a dedicated control on the side of the iPhone that's designed around opening and using the camera faster. If your iPhone has it, you can use it to quickly open the camera app, take photos, record video, and adjust certain camera controls. This camera control is extremely advanced. You can press, half press, double half press, and it's touch sensitive, so if you slide your finger across it, it also does all sorts of different things. You can go to settings and find the camera control settings, then you can pick and choose if you want to single press or double press to open the camera app, and you can decide between a couple different camera apps that it will open. Then, once you're actually in the camera app, it acts as a shutter, so you press down and it'll take a picture or a video. Or if you half press, it'll open up a little tiny settings menu that you can swipe around and pick different settings on, which, I think that's harder than just touching the screen itself, so kind of pointless there. I think its main use is getting to a different camera app a lot faster. So I have it mapped to the Final Cut camera app, which is basically just a more advanced video app that Apple makes, and well, it's a lot easier to just press the button than to go find the app, even though that's not that hard. That way, from the lock screen, I can get to both apps. I can either swipe right and I go to the normal camera app, or I press down on the action button and it takes me straight to Final Cut camera. You can map it to something like Snapchat or the Instagram camera. That way you could just quickly take a picture and post something to your Instagram story. Now let's move to the bottom of the iPhone. This is where you'll see the charge port, speaker, and microphone. Depending on which iPhone you have, you'll either have Lightning or USB-C. The older iPhones will have Lightning and the newer ones will obviously have USB-C. Apple came out with USB-C on the iPhones with the iPhone 15, so if you have an iPhone 15 or newer, you'll have USB-C. Anything older than that will be Lightning. But a couple years ago, Apple was kind of forced to change everything to USB-C because in Europe, you have to have USB-C everything. You can't sell anything that's not USB-C anymore. That really benefit pretty much the whole world because now one USB-C cable can charge my AirPods, iPhone, iPad, Mac, Xbox controller, pretty much anything. And if you have USB-C on your iPhone, that one port can be used for charging, data transfer, accessories, microphone. It might not really seem like it, but this is one of Apple's biggest changes that they've made to the iPhone in years. The biggest benefit for normal users is now you have one charger for pretty much every device. Depending on your iPhone model, USB-C can make it a lot easier to move large photos and videos, record external storage, or connect accessories. Not all USB-C is created equal, so just because your iPhone has USB-C doesn't mean you're going to get super fast transfer speeds. Some iPhones have USB-C but still transfer at a slower USB 2 speeds. Other iPhones, the Pro iPhones, will transfer at USB 3 speeds, which is a lot faster than USB 2 speeds. So this doesn't really matter for the average person. Most people aren't transferring files with their iPhone. But if you are, you're going to want one of those Pro models that have the faster transfer speeds. If you just charge your iPhone at night or transfer a couple files here and there, you're not really going to care about transfer speeds. The port looks the exact same, but they're not the same. In fact, not even the cables are the same, and this might matter for everyone. This matters for everyone because this could base how fast your phone charges. Because some USB-C cables charge at 5 watts, while some charge at 240 watts. So you also need to know how fast your iPhone will charge. And then you need to get a cable that can match that speed to get the fastest charging that your iPhone will allow. Also at the bottom of your iPhone, you'll see speaker and microphone openings. So if your iPhone ever sounds muffled, first thing I would do is check to see if anything's blocking one of these microphones. That could be your phone case, your hand, or just dust and dirt around the openings. And that goes for speakers as well. If your iPhone starts to sound more quiet than normal, maybe check to see if your speakers are clogged. It does sound kind of weird, but it actually does happen to people all the time. Your phone's probably not broken, you probably just need to clean it up a little bit. Alright, now let's move to the back of the iPhone. The most obvious thing on the back of the iPhone is the camera system. Depending on your iPhone, you might have 1, 2, or even 3 rear cameras. You might have a main camera, ultra-wide camera, and on some models, a telephone camera. We'll go much deeper into the camera system later in the video, but for now, just know each lens does something different. But the back of your iPhone has something that you can't really see, and it's one of the coolest iPhone features that's out there: MagSafe. MagSafe is a magnetic system built into the back of many iPhone models. It lets accessories snap onto the back of your iPhone and line up properly. The most obvious use is going to be wireless charging. You can get a MagSafe charger that will automatically align to the back of your iPhone and snap right on, so it's super easy to wireless charge. But MagSafe isn't just for charging your iPhone. You can put a wallet on there, desk stands, car mounts, all sorts of different things. It's really cool. For example, you could have a MagSafe stand on your desk, a MagSafe mount on your car, and a MagSafe battery pack when you travel. Then you can use a MagSafe stand with standby mode, which is basically just like a docking system that looks really nice on your iPhone. Only requirements really is your iPhone has to be on sleep, plugged in, and turned sideways, and it will go into this standby mode. It's kind of like a built-in alarm clock, but you can add widgets, display photos, and customize it a little bit. Not tons, but it's nice that it's there. So even though MagSafe just sounds like a wireless charger, there's a whole ecosystem, and it's actually really cool. Maybe I'll have to talk about that in another video.